411 days. This is how long this Dodge Durango has been on the lot. 411 days. And it started off with an MSRP of $45,305. And that was just the MSRP. Who knows what add-ons they were putting on at the beginning, because a lot of these dealerships initially, they try to pull one over the customer, add on all these different markups and additional fees. But apparently that didn't work, and they had to cut it down to a point now where it's well below the MSRP, but still no one is buying. And this is a Dodge Durango, so it's not necessarily one of the worst sellers, but people just don't have money for it anymore because a lot of the previous models were overpriced, and so the people who bought those are underwater, and people who are trying to get into those because of the economy are not able to. The current economy is just not conducive to assisting the car market get out of this funk. And the car market is in a funk right now. If you look over at the rest of this dealership and see what they have in stock, what you'll notice is on the first page, it's basically all 2024 models. I mean, you look at here, it's another Dodge Durango, the Jeep Wagoneer, and we've talked about this before. These things, they just can't sell. And they start off with these ridiculous MSRPs. You know, people talk about Stellantis cutting down the MSRPs because they have a new CEO. The truth of the matter is they're not cutting them down enough. Okay, 78,000, 88,000, no one can afford this. And these vehicles are just not quality. It's just not there. And look at this one, $100,000 MSRP, 88,000. They're trying to sell it for, and still no one is buying in. It's just not worth it for most people. And these things are just going to collect dust. Look, these things have been on the lot for a really long time. If this has been on the lot for 411 days, I guarantee you this has been on the lot much longer. And, you notice the same thing here, more and more Wagoneers. Nobody wants these. And it's kind of interesting because Stellantis was trying to introduce these electric Wagoneers, these EV Wagoneers. And it's like, no one asked for the gas Wagoneers. And now all of a sudden you're introducing EV versions of them, which are, by the way, more expensive. So it just doesn't make any sense. And, you can go on to the second page and you'll still see 2024s. Probably you'll have to go through halfway this page before you start seeing 2025s. And I guarantee you these 2025s, they've been sitting on the lot for close to probably 400 days, because just because it says 2025 doesn't mean that's when it first came on the lot. Chances are it came on the lot much earlier, probably sometime in 2024. And so these things are just collecting dust left and right. And you look at this, the Dodge Charger, I think this is an EV, I'm not 100% sure, but nonetheless, Stellantis right now is in a big mess, and they just can't sell things. And a lot of these dealerships, they're struggling because the reality of the situation is, okay, they have cut prices. We can see that, right? But they're so behind the curve in terms of what the customers can afford that every time they cut prices, they're basically going into the prices that customers maybe would have been able to afford a year or two ago. But now they're a year behind. And the thing is, a lot of these automakers, they're bleeding a lot of money because the strategy of just spiking up prices during the pandemic times has basically bit them in the butt. And now they're paying for it. And a lot of their customers are not coming back. And with the economy and the way how things are, I just don't see that changing anytime soon. So for a dealership like Stellantis, they are in a lot of trouble because it's almost like they're trying to swim against the tide. So every time they cut prices, it's like they're behind the curve, customers can't afford it, and they need to cut prices even further because now their dealerships are in more trouble. But the reality of the situation is Stellantis can only afford so many MSRP reductions because they are losing profits, they are losing revenue, and it's just not a good situation for them. Not that I have any sympathy for them. But let me know if you guys have noticed the same thing. Are you guys experiencing the same in your local dealerships? Have you started to notice that they're being more aggressive with the discounts? And even then, people are still not buying? Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to click like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one.